So I guess we're live. Welcome to the Federation X podcast running on tangents. And today we're joined by Chris, who is terrific, Tony Robes, and we're joined again by Bill, who looks after the entropies. And currently I am long shot. So we are going to dive in.
Long shot.
What's that?
Where is long shot?
Where is long shot?
Long shot's fun. I'm enjoying long shot.
I mean, I haven't found him yet. I don't know who he's going to be, but then, as Chris can tell you, there was a time when I hadn't found Alan yet, and he was an awful character. But I just
turned out to
refused.
be your best.
What's
in
that?
My opinion. Turned out to be your best, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. But it took a long time to get there. Hey, before we dive into it, I think we've got some really cool topics to go over. And hopefully we'll see some more people show up in the live stream like we did last time. That was so much fun last time. So I'll keep an eye out for it. I think Tim has already kind of chimed in a little bit, so I know that he's dialed in. But before we dive into that, let's take a couple minutes, because last time I gave a little update because a couple of people had played around on the boards. What a difference from last podcast to this podcast. The boards have come to life. Guys, what are the favorite things, the biggest surprises that you're seeing on the boards, the angles you like, the threads you're paying attention to? What's going on the boards that you're really dialed into?
Other than my own?
Yeah.
Aren't
the
you
stuff,
in pretty much every one?
the stuff with Kid and Ov and Ed all fighting for the Bloodsport title. But the Bloodsport title's nowhere there. They're just fighting anyway. That stuff's really, really, really good. I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, about that Bloodsport belt, by the way.
Hey, do you really want me to answer that? Go ahead and say it, and I'll answer it.
Oh, no. When it shuts the doors, it resets. I get it.
No, I think the bigger question is, if Amareza says to one more person, I'm the rightful champ, somebody's going to say to her, a real Bloodsport champ wouldn't be fucking whining about it. They'd just go take it.
You know what's funny? He hasn't said it. Well, I think he said it once in his first post. I've been the one that's been saying it.
Everybody else has been doing it. That's the best part.
You laid it down, and they picked it up, and they ran with it over and over again. That's right. Now, you had a question, though, Chris. What were you going to ask?
Right. I know you know. Who are Terry and Torianus? Like, who were they? I need to know.
So,
those goofy bitches.
I need to know.
I made a single accusation that got denied, but it's not a coincidence to me that we only saw one Benny Blair post.
You think it's Benny?
Really?
Wait a minute.
I can't be certain, but listen.
There's not enough vocabulary for Benny.
It's true.
The female tone of it is really like, what would it be like if the boners were actually trashy women?
Yeah. It makes me cringe every time I read it because it's so
uncomfortable.
Grim and like,
oh God, yeah, and it is definitely the boner style of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So could it?
Seriously, that last one with Ed's uppercut, the Shoryuken.
Oh.
I'm not surprised Av hasn't dealt with it yet.
Yeah, I've kind of left it. Like, do I jump in? But really, it's his to deal. If he doesn't get to it, I'll get to it. I don't know for sure. So I will tell you, like, obviously, people have gotten clever. They know we can check things. We looked just to go, I wonder if there is no technical data that will confirm for me who it is.
Okay, wait a minute. This is coming from the guy who used to check IPs. No technical data?
So we checked IPs, and the IP check is, I would guess, being routed through a VPN.
Ooh,
it might be
we're getting sophisticated in our old age.
Right? It's possible. So one of the things, I didn't think like you did. I didn't think, what is it verbose enough for Benny? I thought it's uncomfortable enough.
No, not the verbosity, just the language. There's not enough thesaurus words for Gino to look up for it to be Benny.
But isn't that the tone of the character? Like, are we saying Benny couldn't dumb it down for the character?
He's also on a fucking iPad.
That's also true.
He's thinking about not being able to log in, period. So I'm sure he's honored to think he's one of the assholes.
I said to him bluntly, like, it's got to be you, right? And he just laughed at me. I don't know if that's a yes or a no. He just laughed.
Well,
So,
Chris, Tim actually hit me up. He's like, so I think I need the boners to deal with the anus sisters. And I'm going, we only deal with dudes.
Yeah. Nothing but headaches. The first person who actually, and so I do in some element, like, I do think it's somebody who knows, like, and expects that we'll get the joke. It's somebody who came prepared.
Who else could it be? We had the same talent pool for years.
Right. So they knew that they weren't, like, certain characters weren't going to interact with them, and they just keep posting as though they're part of the story, even though they're not really getting a lot, like, of feedback from other writers. And they clearly don't
like,
care.
I don't want to touch that shit. I mean, Rez is like, I ain't dealing with them skanks.
Right.
I'm like, I want to stay away because I don't want to slip back into my old ways. So I'm like, I'm just not gonna go there.
So I think that's a worthwhile update at our start to talk about. You have really broken character with your past to go into a character that I think we all are really starting to like. And the dynamic of that character and what you're doing with Maverick Dawson is super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate that. That. And considering I used to just attack people with my dick, like, yeah.
I mean, what works?
But I do, like, I like, there's a tone to your character that's very different. The dynamic with him and the recent, like, hey, I'm going to convince him that he needs to help me so that we're not the guys who just are here to get the old guys over. I think is such a great angle.
I think it's good. We'll have a lot of legs. Like, a lot of people can get involved in that. We'll have a lot of legs to run with it. So it should go on for a while, I should hope.
Totally agree. Hey, Bill, any other angles or particular posts that you want to call out before we move off this topic?
No, but I will say one thing. When I was told that you were Tony Robes, I was like, I haven't seen him write anything else besides the boner in so long. Until I saw you on Discord, I was like, oh shit, he was right.
So I think that is... I mean,
that's like a high compliment right there. I'm like, I had no fucking clue. I'm like, I haven't seen him do anything else in so long.
I think that is probably one of the best compliments that you can get. I did have to look up and thankfully used an email address that I was like, oh, okay, I know who that is.
Yeah.
Because I read the first post, I was like, this is brilliant. And I'm like, but I don't know who this is.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. And when I looked, I went, really? And then I was like, it's one. He'll be done after one post. That's not a thing. And then it caught on and there was depth. And,
oh, God. There's so much depth.
Appreciate that.
It's great. So I think a couple of things. One, I think the unusual dynamic of Cash and OV with their managers and playing those secondary characters together has been fun to read. I've enjoyed it. There's a good kind of, you can tell they're like not really fitting, and yet it's working well. I think we've all benefited from the way Randy has shown up on occasion, just grabbed the bigger story and moved the bigger story forward while the rest of us are caught in all these little things that are going on. And I was really pleased to look up and see the emergence of a whole bunch. Jake Price made his return, which I think was great. I think we saw today, we saw Marcus Magnus Magnificent make his return. We saw Holland make his return. We've seen, Carnage and Omega have shown up. We're starting to see this.
About Omega, you made me bring Reza back and then you disappeared. Just gonna pull that call out right there.
Throwing it right out there, huh?
Oh yeah, I want to wave my dick at that one.
I have a feeling this will not be the last person who gets called out. So do feel bad, Omega, but don't feel too bad. You won't be the last one on this call. I think we've seen some really good, like Alistair posting frequently, and we haven't seen that in ages. In general, Oh, and I would be remiss. I don't actually know. I haven't looked. I don't know who's doing Drunk Viking Bastard, but the
I'm loving that
ring
shit.
battle cry, like it's going to catch on. Like it's going to show up in other people's posts. I'm super entertained by it.
You know who I think it might be?
Who's that?
Thor.
Really?
Nah, he opposite of Benny.
It's a weird long. It's a weird like just conjecture, because I've seen the guy's Facebook posts. He's not functionally retarded. I think he could tone it back because
you could tell that Chris and I aren't sold on your position.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even sold on my position, but it's without any other evidence, like email addresses and logins.
So I think if we're going to call, I think Lars hit it on the head. If we're going to call out Omega, we're going to call out Rude, and we're going to call out XS. Like you dropped the post and then disappeared. Hey, free reign for everybody. XS is the new static if he doesn't show up again. So
He'll never
make him put on weight, make him start dating middle-aged women, whatever you think is appropriate, because he clearly doesn't mind. All right. So today, I think we're going to make our way, after we do a little give and take on some getting deeper with the guys on the call. We're going to make our way to a topic that, Chris, you raised, and I think we've talked around it in the past. I think we've made jokes at people's expense. We've pointed at kind of big incendiary moments, but I think you had a great point. There's a bigger, more systemic issue that led to the death of the game. And whether you think that's Wrassle or FedX or whatever you think that is, that's what we're going to dig into as our main topic today. But before we get to it, we're going to, just play a little bit of our regular one. And so for those, and there will be, just like there's people who have shown up that don't really know us, there are people who are showing up who are looking at the names on the screen right now, Longshot, Tony Rhodes, the Entropies, who maybe go, I don't know if I'm supposed to know who that means, or, oh, I see them in FedEx, but I don't know that they have any history. So real quick, guys, who are you best known for? Or what are you best known for that maybe we want to share with everybody before we move into our other questions?
After you.
Okay. I'm probably best known as Titus Fuchs on a commissioner level, and as a player level, Stoner Boy. Probably best known for, like I said, attacking people with my dick and trolling as much as I possibly can. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And running show, right? Like that was kind of the hallmark of Titus, who, by the way, that answers a question from way back the first time we had you on, which is I pronounced it Fuchs, and immediately Genocide was like, pretty sure it's Fuchs.
Okay, here's the fucked up part. I knew someone in high school with the exact same spelling last name for the longest time, saying Fuchs, because that's how she pronounced it. So Fox, oh my God, this is even better.
Yeah, it's like an it's like an Austrian name or something, so I think it's pronounced Fuchs.
I love it.
Titus Fuchs, but it looks like Titus Fuchs, and that's why I chose it. So.
I love it.
Of course it is. Had I known that, I would have been way less surprised by the Boner Force.
All right. Tried to get me to change that name.
Surprised by the Boner Force.
Did they ask you to change that name?
Yeah. I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with this name. It's an Austrian name, all the while knowing exactly what I was doing.
That's hilarious. All right, Bill, and how about you?
All right. I'm known for the many incarnations of Max.
Yeah.
Max Entropy. The one who hunts Hall of Famers just because he's drunk and doesn't give a shit. And then, of course, for the old motherfuckers, The Dark Knight, and then the most recent, Amareza.
All right. And I mean, if anybody doesn't know me by this point, most of my
doesn't know you.
Yeah, most of my notoriety probably comes from decisions I've made as Grayson, but Acid Ed goes a long way. Nighthawk goes all the way back to early days of C-Slam. Actually, so does Longshot, but he's new. I didn't really dig into. Ed took off, so I dropped Longshot, so he's making his comeback. But I did want to point out for you, Chris, I don't know if you caught that in my post. So the reason I name dropped Burnout in an earlier one is Burnout was my first tag team partner.
I couldn't believe it when you said his name, because I haven't heard that name in years. He used to do the traditional E-Feds.
Yeah.
And he came into one of the feds that I was in and basically did a whole what the talent did and just took it over. He was using other people's characters and everybody was going mental about him and he like stirred the shit up. And I was like, oh, this guy's cool. I added him on MSN, was talking to him for ages. That's how I found my stuff.
Cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
he was a good dude. So, all right. So here's where I think we can get started. What's been the best part of getting back to playing for you? What's the piece of it that you're just loving the most right now?
Just like the new character, because Stoner Boy did turn into a complete troll.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to mess with.
Wait,
people.
was there a time that you didn't think Stoner Boy was going to be a troll?
With a name like that, I mean, seriously.
No, he started out as in that old Wrassle superhero thing, and I was just gonna troll there. I was like a superhero where I'd smoke weed and I'd become like I'd get Jedi powers, and
Like
that's how he started. See what?
You're a Kevin Smith mark. It was Blunt Man and Chronic rolled into one.
Yeah. So that's how he started. He was always meant to be like a comedy type joke character, but then, you know, when the game become shit and I hated it, and then it just became a full-on troll. So
just a quick shout out, because I see for the first time Angel Hunter on the page listening to the live stream. Haven't seen or heard that name in ages. That's super cool.
Hunter is watching right now.
I'm just saying, that's a shout out just went out from Paul.
Yeah,
it's scrolling through quickly, but I'm pretty sure I saw that name, so that's awesome.
He's not watching because he's on Discord, and well, he's a bitch.
Come on, man. Come on. All right.
You got to get with us.
Bill, what about for you?
Wait, just what about for me?
What about for you? The best part of being back? What's the best part of kind of having it actually take off? Because I know you jumped in to play a little bit a few months ago.
Characters. Yeah, I've been bored.
Right.
Honestly, my daily existence is not running myself up the fucking flagpole out front by my belt and leaving my body out for all to see. Yeah. When you guys said, oh, we're coming back, I'm like, oh, like the last 5 fucking times you called me? And then you showed up and then left me in the nothing?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're not prepared to no-sell on a dime, you figure it out.
Yeah, you fucking troll me because I'm a hard seller and, well...
Listen, when you've been dead as many times as Ed's been dead, you learn. You just pivot. I mean, I pivoted once simply because Excess was hear me out. Excess was active, and so got a voodoo priest in a post to raise Ed from the dead and had me play Acid Dead.
I remember seeing that.
I mean, let's do it.
And now we've all been dead so many times. I mean, the Winchester boys are jealous.
You're not wrong about that. So I will say this, one of the things I've loved the most this time around, more than any of the other times the card we did when Burnt passed or any of that stuff, what I've loved the most about this particular one is that there are people showing up to play that I haven't gotten to play with in over a decade. And I love that. Like, when's the last time I got to play with the Mad Bomber? And Bomber and Ed were a tag team way back when, and we had so much fun doing it. Or when's the last time that Alistair was actually active and involved? There are names showing up here that go all the way back to C-Slam and that we haven't seen in FedX in 15 years.
Of names that should be seen is Michael Gold, who I've seen an OOC post, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Yo, Jobber, eat a bag of dicks, get on the board.
Seeing Eliezer posting on a regular basis is super cool, right? There are names all over that we can drop. For me, that's the favorite part. It has become the, like, who will it be next? Seeing guys show up on the Discord channel today. By the way, if you're not on the Discord channel and you like the banter and you like the jokes and you like the, hey, what's going on? Even if you're not going to play, you should get your ass on the Discord channel. I will say this, do not have your phone near you while you're trying to work. It is the most distracting thing in the world.
3 a.m. last night. For me, 3 a.m. and I'm sat there and they're still going strong. I'm just like,
in the future.
I logged off. I'm like, I have other things to do. And as soon as I logged off of my computer, I picked my phone up. I'm like, well, let me just see if there's anything more I want to comment. It's so fun. All right.
I blame Tim for me showing up there. I wasn't going to get Discord. He's like, you need to show up. I'm like,
So I think the cool thing about it is we have had some guys show up who really aren't planning. So I'm thinking about somebody like Latoya. If she gets around and she's watching, like, I get it. You don't have the time to jump in and play, but you could jump on Discord, and it's a little outside of Facebook, which means we can be a little more ourselves the way we were in FedX when we banter with each other. You should get your ass on there.
yeah, listen to him.
So, and by the way, you can get on there just so you can talk about how you're the only one who might actually have been a female that played a female.
Can't blew my mind.
What's that?
Confirm.
That
Actual female.
What was Chris? You were saying that blew your mind?
That Jake Price was Living Dead girl. I thought that was
I know, right?
I thought that was an actual woman, and when I found out, I was like, "What? Like, no way."
In other words, Living Dead girl's better than Jake Price.
So, is it going to? If you're going to play a female, I just want to prep you. If and when, and I intentionally am not right now, but if and when Alan kind of steps back in, I am intentionally going to look right at you and then nudge somebody and be like, "That's a dude, right?" No matter what you say the girl looks like, I'm going to play that out over and over again, because we just had a conversation on Discord and I was like, that's the move the second somebody posts as a female. That's a dude, right? All right. So, hey, one of the questions I want to ask, because we've gone through lots of the basic questions before we've had these conversations. Name a character you've never tagged with that you would love to tag with, and tell us which of your characters you'd like to have them tag with.
As Stoner Boy, I never had a tag team partner ever. Like, so
really?
Yeah, really. I mean, there was the Burner Force, but we weren't really a tag team.
That was a hate fucking. There's a difference.
There was some tagging going on, but I'm not sure it was legal.
Yeah, no, that's not a tag. That's a tip touch. Get it right.
I think it's the same thing as a hot tag.
Well, only if you can tag in 3 other guys.
Uninvited physical contact. I'm just saying.
Oh, with the Boner Force, it was invited.
So think about it from the other angle. Like, who's the character that you go, I think one of my characters could have played off them so well and they could have had a good dynamic. Like, who would that be?
It's hard with Stoner Boy, because the only thing you can do with Stoner Boy is like Homeless Jay. I'd have loved to have run a tag team with Jay.
I mean, that's such a great choice.
I would have really. But if I was Robes, then it'd be like, the obvious ones. Like, I think Alan Scott would be great with Robes. Gino, like, both of them trying to out-douche each other, and I think that.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so, can the world take 2 guys trying to go super douche?
We've had the good guys, yes.
I mean, the difference in that dynamic is that Gino douched while Alan was like, no, we're literally, I don't understand why everybody's mad at us. So, what about you, Bill? You got somebody that you look to and go, that we'd be a great partner. We didn't really do it. Who is it?
Honestly, it's this. You know what? No. Max and Storm. Never tagged. Got along. Ran in the same stable a couple times. But most of the time they hated the fuck out of each other. But Storm was an asshole. Max is an asshole. And seriously, either Storm or Genocide.
That's
one of the 2 with Max, because that combo would have been just brutal.
Yeah, I could see that.
But that's angle wise, not necessarily rolling rewrite wise.
I think that's part of the fun, is what the angle of the team is and how does it kind of come together.
That's always my problem.
I thought a little bit about this. I wasn't, because I've gotten to tag with a lot of people, and I've had some great tag team partners. I even thought have Lars and I ever really had a chance? We did a little bit with Lasher and Hawk, but not like really, but that's not where I landed. I thought it would be, kind of cool to play Lars in his, if anybody remembers that stage you went through where he thought Lasher was dead and Lars was grieving and
Lars went active. Yeah.
And he was just like, I'm violent and I'm angry and I just want to hurt things. Like that mountain of Bruiser Brody, the image that he had there with Joe Power, who was like the good of actual good, I think would have been a super interesting dynamic. And I think I would have had fun working that chemistry with Tim, which we never really got to do. So he would have been my pick for that scenario. All right. What's your, we've done lots of event stuff in C-Slam and in Wrassle and Federation X, whether it was ultimate tournaments or whether it was sponsor wars or stable wars or the King of Wrestling tournament or role play tournament, like rewrite tournaments, or, we came up with a formula that was really good for doing actual rumbles where we entered in a specific order and you could eliminate people. Sometimes they dragged on at the end. We need to fine tune that before we bring it back. Is there an event you really liked, the one that you really thought was better than the rest of them?
I was listening to one of the older podcasts that I was on, and I remember talking, I think it was just when Sponsor Wars had finished, and I remember, and I was sat on the podcast saying like, oh my God, it's a lot of work, it's crazy. I literally don't remember anything that happened. I think I blanked that from my mind, like completely, because I literally have no recollection of it at all. So I think Sponsor Wars is something I'd like to do as a player and not as a commissioner, because it was obviously harrowing for me.
Yeah. So, and that's funny, we were talking on the Discord channel.
Other than that, I like the King of Wrestling.
And both of those, the King of Wrestling and Sponsor Wars, open with a variation or a type of a draft. And we were talking on the Discord channel today, how cool would it be to have people in waiting rooms and pull them in one at a time in the order of their pick and actually do the draft, like live stream it like we're doing this? Would that be such a cool change to the dynamic of just role playing it, but actually doing it live like this? And I think either of those, like being the person with the first pick and going out at the beginning of King of Wrestling and going, okay, of the 16 other people that are in this, I'd choose that. Like basically what you're saying is, I think you're the weakest. I think it would be so much fun to do that live. And I think the same thing about, the way we put stables together for Sponsor Wars was we had 4 captains and we let captains actually draft their teams together. Man, there was some fun stuff. There was also some super douchey drafting, but we had people like, was it Pikachu that was left? I know Tim got really frustrated one year because we started drafting characters that hadn't played in years so that we didn't have to draft Pikachu.
That was when we split into 3 feds, because I remember me and Gino were both like, well, there's only Pikazap left, so we just went through the list, and Mitch Scab, the dirty squab or something, and Hubert, right, who was a conjoined twin or something, and we were just like, we're not picking Pika.
Whatever it takes, Pika's not
getting fucking cone.
Yep. That's so true.
Fucking damn it.
That's all right. So I think one of the topics I wanted to hit on while we were on today, and this is the one in the getting to know your guest section that I thought would have a little bit of meat on it. I know certainly I can speak to it, but I am super interested if either of you can speak to it as well. What's the closest one of your characters has gotten to just failing? Like we know in wrestling, lots of gimmicks fail. Guys never make it out of the minors because they can't find a voice that makes them in any way different than everybody else. And so we see them, they go through the motions and they live in the indies and they have the physical tools, but they just don't have the presence, or they can't get on the mic, or they can't get over with the crowd. What's the closest you've come with a character, or did you have a character you really tried, not like I did 2 posts and I gave up, but really tried and invested in, and we're like, I'm 3 months into this and I think it's dead, like I think I'm done, and then something changed, or you found your voice, or you caught a feud that really elevated the character? Like, Have you had that experience?
I had one that failed. And if you don't include every time Stoner Boy posted, then
I don't include that shit. End of story. No, that's out.
But no, I never had one where it was like, oh no, I'm not. This isn't working, and then suddenly it worked. I definitely had one that failed. That I really tried to do, and it just I couldn't get it to go anywhere.
So what happened?
I didn't know how to fix it. It was in show, but I wasn't commissioned.
Were you the commission at the time?
I wasn't commissioned.
I couldn't get a title match. Damn it.
Oh, so it was Mavericks Fed.
Yeah.
No, it was after I stepped down as commissioning, and whoever took over it, I joined that Fed because it was an RP Fed. And the character I was Lacuna, and I was supposed to be like a guy, sort of like Kenny Omega. Like I was an American, and I wrestled my entire career in Japan, and then I'd come back over to America to try and make it. And I had matches against like Johnny Rude, Le Jeff, and I won.
Shout out Le Jeff.
We need to get Jeff on a podcast.
I don't know, the last one went great, but I would be happy to have him back.
I will do what I can to get him.
Has anyone mentioned we're back to him?
I think so. I think Tim did.
I know Tim tried, and I know Le Jeff has seen me make comments.
There you go. So hopefully.
God, I want to see him back because that dude is fun.
What about you, Max? Did you run any characters that just eventually they died because you couldn't find the legs, or you couldn't get people to care about the character?
No, just to fuck with it, I ran a character called D-Day in IAPWF and C-Slam, and he was a geriatric ass World War II veteran. And he was just nuts, straight up senile, Alzheimer's. Fun as hell to write, but nobody wanted anything to do with him. And it failed. Like, I just...
Yeah.
It was fun.
So the reason that I asked the question and I was interested about it is a couple of fold. Like, one, I think we see that, right? We see people who try and come back and they go, like, I can't come up with an idea. And because they don't have an idea or a voice or an angle or a gimmick really quickly, they kind of give up. They don't know how to work through it. And yet, Chris, you said earlier, you think of Alan as my best character, my most successful character. I do too now, and I don't think a lot of people realize Alan was days away from being an abysmal failure. In fact, many people don't know
right now.
Alan was created as a tag team partner to Lane Flack, and Lane Flack was Diggsy Brown, and Lane Flack did fail.
Honestly, Diggsy's worst character.
So I don't agree. I think it was good, but I think that nobody really, caught on to it, and it didn't really get the right voice for Lane. And so he was getting close to being ready to step away. He was moving up the ranks and getting some real writing opportunities in the real world. And so he just kind of died, and Lane Flack was kind of the last character he died out with. He did Kip Duran afterwards, but he was also big into poker at the time, and he actually, won some trips to go play world poker events and stuff. Like, he was pretty good. And Alan was all but dead, and some reporter said, "Hey, let me interview Alan." And they said, like, "Hey, whatever you do, make sure you answer every question dead honestly." And I was like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I?" And then asked me how I felt about wrestling. And I want to say it was chance, and I can't be 100% sure. And like a switch went in my head, and I was like, "Want to know how I feel about wrestling women? Do you want to know how I feel about putting over 120-pound Barbie dolls?" And I went off with Alan, and suddenly I was the bad guy. And I realized there's no reason for me to be the bad guy. The bad guy is the person who asked me to put over 120-pound. And that whole concept of Alan not seeing himself as the bad guy, but being dead honest, And suddenly I started, and it took shape. And in about 10 days, I went from, I think this is my last post or two with this character, I'll just go back to Ed, to, oh shit, I really like this character. And I can specifically, we've talked about this in the podcast before, when we went to show, Chris was clear with me. It's like, I do not want you to bring Alan. I want you to bring Ed. And I said to him, give me a week. And if you still don't like him, I'll get you Ed. And I think like post 1, he was like, I fucking love this. Like, I'm so in. Like, it did not take long.
So you're responsible for this cocksucker.
I remember Alan in NGPW.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was...
I remember Alan in NGPW. Oh, sorry, carry on.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, before you guys all left to create FedX, and I knew you was Acid Ed. So, you know, I don't want you to take this as like offensive or anything. I knew you were Ed, so I knew you were good. But the character itself was just boring. Like, I just didn't get anything from it. So when you came back and you're like, I'm bringing in Alan Scott, I was like, wait, that boring guy that I remember? Like, what the hell? And then, yeah, when, like, first post, I was like, oh shit, this is great. This is amazing. Yeah, completely
story. I love the fact this story is perfect from both sides because he's told the exact same fucking story verbatim. I love it because you don't get that in this game. Everyone's got their perspective. You never hear the exact same story from 2 separate players ever.
But it was true. Like, that's how it went down. He was not, somewhere in my email history is an email that is very clear, like, no. Like,
I love it.
But and I think it's a good topic for us to just say, like, I know there's some people who are like I would jump in, but I just, like, I don't even know what to do. So here's the thing. I didn't know what to do. I still am not sure what I'm going to do with Longshot, but I thought as guys were creating new characters, it was probably time for me to put some effort into a character that didn't have a big history and a big, like, could I come in and play Alan again? Sure, but everybody's trying to find new feet. Everybody's trying to find a new voice. What's that?
Haven't you already?
Not entirely. Like, I still don't know who he is. I flipped and Jake really caught it today when I was talking to him. He said, I really like the switch to first-person narrative for Longshot. It has helped you put a lot more voice into the idea behind the character, which is he's been so close and not been able to grab the brass ring. And that's interesting about him.
Yo, Chris, Kansas says to me to call you a scouser.
Oh, tell him to go fuck himself. No, he'll enjoy that. He'll enjoy that.
Yeah, don't get him too excited.
So I tell him to go
fuck a girl.
Jax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
So before
I'm on this, go on.
Yeah. Before we dive off Tim, thank you so much for calling out the new breed. That was such a great, by the way, you see the trend, like Tim commented how many times I've been in tag teams. I love the tag team dynamic, even in our game. And so Alan Scott was born for a tag team. Originally, Acid Ed was born for a tag team. Longshot's first real success, and he references it in first-person narrative now, was in tag team. Nighthawk was made for a tag team. The fact that they all evolved into their own individuals and the characters they were born to play with, like, all disappeared, has not lost me on the fact that like, if tomorrow somebody I thought was really talented pinged me and went, hey, we should make new characters and come in as a tag, like, I'm in, let's do it. I just find the dynamic of playing off of somebody, especially in the foundation of a new character, really good. I see, Michael talking about not feeling like his first post for Magnificent was not great. Hey, it was a Bloodsport post, so you can count on the fact that Ed's going to punch you in the face.
That.
What's that?
I mean, of all people who should be commenting on Bloodsport, you and me, Bloodsport's not supposed to be good.
Yeah, open the door so other people can jump in and interact. And what you did was open the door for Ed. or of, or Amareza, or
Amareza's at the bar.
right. Right.
Tony
Oh, but that's
Everett.
you never know where a blood sport fight's going to land. Could happen. So, hey, before we transition into our main topic, which I think is going to be really interesting, is there one person you want to put on as a shout out to say, hey, it's actually working and people are playing? What the hell's wrong with you? You need to be playing.
I'd say Chronic, Great Lotus. People don't give him enough credit, I don't think, because he's not a fucking, he's not Charles Dickens, but he's a great role player. He's a brilliant role player. He won 2 One World Championships. The talent pool was dead, but he won because he was a great role player. I think he'd suit this environment a lot better.
To Lotus.
What's that?
Sorry?
I prefer Chronic to Lotus.
I prefer Lotus.
Yeah, me too. I prefer the Lotus. I
just like throwing out those rock catchphrases.
Yes,
I love it.
I know. That's why I insult what is it? Austin James as the Great Lotus.
It's not even an insult. I can openly tell you.
No, that's the fucking problem.
I just took it and went, that's awesome, and rolled it in. If he'd kept playing, I wouldn't have done that. But as soon as he was like, I'm only going to post once every 2 weeks, like, I for sure will steal that. I love it. So 100%. And I'm not close to that idea in the future. Playing a character that talks about themselves in the third person, I think, is a special kind of fun. So 100% I do that. Bill, who would you call out to and say, hey,
where the fuck are you and what you doing?
Yeah.
Kenny Moss.
All right. Not what I would guess, but nice.
Okay, wait a minute. This is random. He's a feuder. He's an asshole. And, well, he's from the same part of the states that spawned genocide. So that tells you kind of dick he is. But he's talented as fuck. And I hope he's bored because we could use him.
All right. So I'll tell you guys, I did my part. I pulled Tim and Paul. So I pulled Alistair and Lars into a chat and dragged Storm into it and went, what the hell is wrong with you?
Really?
And, we got a lot of pushback, and I don't know if I can. And I said, hey, the new Tap-a-Top app works really well on the phone. You can press play and it'll just tell you what everybody's been posting. Like, get your ass in the game.
This is for you, Stormy. Love you, brother. Where the fuck are you?
That's right. 100%. Get in the game. All right. So let's transition. Let's talk about our main topic for today. This is the one, Chris, that you raised and said, we should be talking about this. The game died, and it wasn't because a server crashed. It wasn't because, Burnt passed away. None of those things is the reason the game died. The game didn't die because of, me deciding I wasn't going to write in FedEx anymore. You really see more behind why the game itself died out for so long. And one of the reasons we want to talk about it is, let's make sure we don't do this shit again. So why don't you start with us? Why do you think the game died?
Who do you want to start?
You.
Me. Okay. I think it was a lot to do with Wrassle and EC. And I just want to, before I say this, I'm not including Clive Windsor in that at all, because there's a reason they brought him in, because he was doing all their fucking donkey work. But they became stupidly lazy. Like, they just did not give a shit. And like you said, when you can sit back after so long out of the game and really like dissect it and think of why it actually died, it all started there, and from there it had a knock-on effect, like butterfly effect or whatever. Them being lazy and not giving a shit created a bunch of commissioners who were also lazy and didn't give a shit. As long as they were counting the heat, and posting results. Didn't even have to be on time. There could be 4 or 5 days late. And I know because I was in Feds where commissions did that. As long as they got posted eventually, they didn't care. And that in turn turned the player base into a bunch of little bitches who all they wanted to do was put themselves over. And I had so many times where I tried to start a story with someone and I'd start it and then their follow-up post would be them one-upping me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try and wheel this back over here. And then the next post would be just they're one-upping me as well. Again, and eventually it just got to the point where I can't be asked with this shit. I'm getting nowhere doing this. And obviously I wasn't in FedEx until later, where I probably should have gone. I should have probably come to FedEx and just given up on Wrassle.
By the way, let me pause you there for a second. I took some heat on Discord from the Kansas kid, and I think it was directed to all of us who were in FedEx. And it was basically, you guys are all assholes for letting me be in Wrassle when I could have been in FedEx.
Yo, he's fucking right, because if I knew about him beforehand, I would have dragged his ass in.
Right.
No, I would have.
Yep. Yep. So finish your thought on that, Chris. I totally.
So yeah, so it was like it was impossible to create. And the thing that's fun about this game is creating the stories. It's creating like that angles and everything. And genocide, strife, all the people who we talk about who are great. They've lost matches.
Fuck genocide.
But they've lost matches.
Great. Genocide. He's just been around.
Well, they've lost matches. They've had posts where they look stupid. No one remembers that shit. No one remembers any of that crap. But the player base didn't get it, and they were like, "Well, I don't want to look stupid. If I want to be the best, I've got to post about how I'm the best." And it just spread throughout all of Wrassle, and that's basically what it was. And then when we all came over to FedEx when the server died,
we all came over for a reason.
Sorry?
Yo, I blew that shit.
Air quote that for a reason. Do you know something we don't know?
I don't know for certain, but I'm 99% sure that server didn't die. I think the server died because someone pressed the button because they were like, well, we're not letting them get one over on us, like, personally.
No.
And I'll always believe that.
Fee.
So, by the way, what terrific Tony Robes is referring to is that maybe the single most talented Fed in Wrassle at the time of its death was SHOW, and maybe it was the single most talented Fed because Federation X players went there and said, look how much better the game is if just a handful of us show up. And they didn't. I think the supposition is that they felt like we were there just to show off and take players back to FedEx, which actually wasn't true. I wasn't playing in FedEx at the time, and Gino came. What?
Called a hitman in for that one.
Right. Like we organized to go because Gino said to me, you're not playing, but you should be. Like, let's do something. And I think he might have reached out to you, Chris, to say, how would you feel about it?
Do you know what really started that was Dice. Dice came to FedEx and he had one of the show titles. I can't remember which one. And he was like, oh, I'll put it on the line against Gino. And Gino beat him, obviously. And I was just like, I'm going to sell that shit. Gino's our champion. Like, awesome. Gino won it in FedEx, and that's where it all started.
Can I throw a little bit in about Dice?
Yeah.
Dice, he's not the sharpest spoon in the drawer, but when it comes on brass tacks, Dice understood. When he said that he showed up and he lost, he wasn't kidding.
Right.
And honestly, he, after being a raging dickweed of the unforgivable type, he doesn't feel comfortable showing up anymore. And honestly, Dice isn't that bad if he's not Dice.
He takes Dice too seriously. That's the problem.
Exactly.
when he posted as Uber Funga, and I think it was
That shit was
Dragon.
funny as fuck.
Yeah, it was great when he wasn't taking himself so seriously. He was actually a decent player. I enjoyed role playing with him, just not as Dice.
All I know is that Alexi killed a thread on Facebook where I buried Dice enough that he said, "Give me your address. I'm going to drive up there and beat you up." And I just want Dice to know, hey, no hard feelings. Show up and post. Happy to see you. But I consider that a solid knockout on my part, that you felt the need to get real life serious.
That's a kill.
Yeah, for sure.
Kill, bro.
That's right. So I want to dig into that a little bit because I think you're right. I see a couple, and we've had some great commentary that came from people on the live stream about why they think it is. I think there were some people who talked about just aging out of the game. Yeah, I guess so, but I think there's a root cause to aging out of the game. I think we always expect churn. I think one of the things we stopped doing a long time ago was cultivating poor players into better players. There's a lot of guys who are in our game who'll put their hand up and say, I started as a teenager and I was terrible, and guys in their 20s taught me how to play. And I think of great writers like Holochico. I think of great writers like Valentine, who Valentine was a kid when he first came to one of Grayson's Feds. The fact that I still know him and that he's adult and they let him teach children blows my mind.
Oh, no, we're not going to talk about blowing my mind on teaching children because, oh, wait a second. There's one guy in particular who shouldn't ever, and that's Stuntman.
Oh, yeah, that's an excellent point.
So forget the whole who's teaching who, but there's a lot of people who started as teenagers that actually evolved to rather impressive writers.
Right. I think we have to go back to the idea that cultivating the next group of players is like how we get to enjoy the game longer. I think we gave up on that. There was a period after Slam where we were still doing it, but there was clearly a period in Slam where what we celebrated were guys like Ed and guys like Storm, guys like Max, who swerved and killed careers left and right. And they're the ones we put up on a pedestal, and not the people like Jake Price who are out there going, hey, you're not great, but why don't you come with my character, and why don't I give you the rub and get you over and help you learn how to do it. Like, we didn't celebrate that. We mocked Jake for that when he was doing it with Chance or with Faith. And then we high-fived Storm because he made 5 people cry in a day and all quit together. We started treating jobbers like they were a renewable resource.
No, fair. That was my favorite kill.
Right.
I murdered jobbers. You got mad at me for that.
Yeah. And so I think that's part of it. I think part of it is we forgot that C-Slam advertised. They didn't just sit back and wait. They advertised. That's how we all found it. You've heard guys on other podcasts talk about seeing the ad on Scoop Central when they went for wrestling news. At some point, we became this little ball that one person would find by dumb luck every now and then, but we stopped trying to appeal outside of our group. And I think that's bad for the long term. Every company should be a marketing company. You should always be branding and growing. Eyeballs on your product, even if they look at it and go, this is dumb, is better than no eyeballs on your product, because a year or 2 years later, they take an English course and they learn that they love writing and they go, oh, I wonder if I could still write about wrestling, and they show up. But we stopped appealing to that. And so it became this little closed bubble. And then we started celebrating killing off people in the bubble. It was like Survivor. And great, we figured out like Gino was the soul for Survivor because nobody would play anymore.
Gino hid.
So that's right. He pulled a Ric Flair in the Royal Rumble. He hid under the ring. But so I think that's part of the root of it. And then I think the other thing that you hit on, Chris, from my mind that I really believed was when the people who own it don't play it, how could they possibly care about it enough to really, I'll say this, and I take none of the credit for it this particular time around. I really think, so first of all, credit for the rebirth, and I know people are going to kind of raise their eyebrows, starts with Johnny Rude, who out of the blue said, it's my birthday and I want to do a podcast and I want to find out, like, why aren't people playing? And he wrote out let's talk about this. and it generated the first wave of interest that got us to start poking around. And maybe we'll do another podcast, and the second and third podcast led to people posting. So that's number one. Yeah, Bill, we got you. Number two.
Oh, I'm not done yet.
It's
not done yet.
It goes to people of influence. And so I think about people who are old names that know a lot of people, like Lars. Seeing like a lot of people put Lars on their top 5 list at number 1 when it comes to commissioners. And that matters, right? And so I think about big commissioners. So I think about Titus. I think about Grace, and I think about Lars. I think about Maverick, which is why I care that Storm's not playing. 1, he helped refound Federation X when we rebuilt it. And 2, he's a name who's been a commissioner for a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys who would put him on their top 5 list. And when you start seeing the big commissioners, and then you remember, I loved playing under them, and they're playing again, or in Lars's case, he's running again. When he put up a card with no reason, just here's a card, all of a sudden twice as many people started posting. That's not a coincidence. The guy we believe is great as a leader started leading again, and so we started playing again. And so I think all of that goes back to what Chris said, which is they didn't care about their game. They weren't involved in their game. I think that's a long-term. So when Tim stopped playing and then I stopped playing, we left it to Gino, and Gino tried, but like Gino doesn't have a long legacy as a commissioner. He's not. In fact, he has a legacy as maybe the worst commissioner after the hammer. So I think all of that really matters. And I think there's lots we can learn from it this time around to maybe do it differently. Bill, do you have like anything outside of those things that you think is other than you just pinning it on your chest and saying, I killed it?
Boom, bitch.
Yeah.
No, honestly, the whole man who killed Wrassle trick was purely Ice Hog.
Yeah.
Ice Hog
remember.
posted on Facebook randomly that, yeah, fuck it, Max blew it all up. I ran with that. I thought it was amazing.
Right.
I hated how Wrassle had been all about the ATM.
Yeah.
And I think
that's all they cared about.
Oh, Chris, yo, go.
Oh, no. I was just pointing it back. That is all they cared about, was collecting their ATM money, and they didn't care about the game. Like,
but that's the thing. When you said to think about things that killed it, they were about the Wrassle bucks. The sim was different because the sim was you could buy your stats, as opposed to dumb luck and fuck it, sell it as it happened. Right. I mean, this is where my full circle comes with the whole sim thing, because back in the Slam, posting and your sim was all bullshit. It was whatever the hell happened, you had to sell it.
Right.
Story. You couldn't pad that. And that's what I kind of love about the FedEx sim, is the fact that you cannot pad it. It creates controversy. It creates angles that have no reason existing, but it's something to fuck with.
Yeah, I'll say. Roll. What's that?
Like a dice roll.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, right, pretty much. I mean, the difference between a stat-based sim versus a dumb luck. Max and Deke were both bullshit on the sim.
Right.
And that was the beauty of them. You fuck with me in an RP tourney, game over, bitch. But if you face me on the sim, I'm a walking free kill.
So a couple of things. I think we put tools in place in FedEx, and some people embrace them, and some people are like, oh, why do I have to deal with that? Like when people complained about the ranking system, it wasn't there for my benefit. It was there to say, hey, you know those days where you're like, I don't know what to write about? Look at the guy above you in the rankings and call him out on a dark card match or do a house show match against them. And now you've got a reason to put up the challenge post, which didn't have to be super long. Go sim it and point the results, and maybe it turns into something. Remember how our first posts in Slam were all the same? I went on the sim and I beat somebody and I posted about how much better than them I was. Like, you can go basic and get heat. And And it gave, and then suddenly you've got 2 posts, and maybe you build some momentum, maybe you've got something to do. We really tried to put control over, like, if you wanted a title shot, you didn't have to convince, oh, Chris doesn't want to role play with me, screw him, I'll just make myself the #1 contender. There's nothing he can do to stop that. Right? And then we balanced it by saying to Chris, it's true, if the card comes up on Monday and he's #1, he's fighting you. But we said to Chris, if you get to the pay-per-view, you can pick whoever you want. So you can sell your story at the pay-per-view. So make it to the pay-per-view as the champion. You can defend the title against whoever your story's with. But on, Monday Night Raw or on, SmackDown, you're going to defend against whoever is the #1 contender. And we really tried to give you both sides of the equation, but also tools to help you get into the game a little bit more and find opportunities to open it up. ATM was one of the popular topics for a lot of people. I saw that roll by on the live stream a lot when we were talking about one of the things that killed the game. And I'll say this, I raised it on Discord because Tim and I are in some conversations about development of a more thorough game than what we currently have. And no rush. We think the role play's fun. We don't want to make it heavy, but we're in some conversations about what we might be able to do. And so as part of that conversation, we raised with a developer some discussion around features that, maybe you could pay for a membership and get the features. And, I was surprised and pleased by Kansas, and some other people were like, dude, we're so used to paying for this or that. Like, we'll just pay so that there's some cash flow. Like, you don't need to, and our intention was, let's not unbalance the game. It won't impact the sim. But, remember, short tags were a thing, or being able to mask was a thing. Like, maybe we could hide some of those features so there was some value in it for you. Not for us, because honestly, one of the bottles of bourbon I bought recently would probably pay for server space for 5 years. But yeah.
I know your taste. It's more closer to 10.
Yeah, maybe. And server space costs really have come down. It's a different world than it was when Wrassle was born. But our thought process was, somebody's going to put a lot of work into this, and they're putting up their hand and saying, like, I really want to do it. I don't know how you guys feel. If 6 months from now we had a new game and it was easier for people to play and engage, and we could have an app that, gave you that addictive button clicking thing that you could do to sim when you're not having time to write, so that there's a reason to check, and like, whatever we can figure out, we'll have a bigger conversation with the group to hear your ideas and let everybody kind of pour into it, because we want to hear them. Wouldn't it be cool if we could make sure that the guy who did all that work for us got a little something out of it? Like, even if it was just like 20, 40, 50 bucks a month, like, if we're buying him dinner once a month because he did it, I'd feel good about that. So
I think the issue, because I find this in other games, that a lot of people's biggest gripe is pay to win. If the stuff you're paying for is just cosmetic, like you said, masking,
right,
or like the short tags or whatever, that once it becomes pay to win, then it becomes an issue, usually with the community.
Was always my argument with Wrassle, right?
Yeah.
When people go, look at all my USOBs, I go, look at my bank account, I still have the money.
I look at my OWC and go, boys, I did this, and this bottle was full when I started.
It was. Well done. I saw some good jokes going by about that, including Bomber. So DeJuan gets 2 points for that one.
2 points for what? I'm not paying attention to that. I'm watching.
Oh yeah, you missed it. He was super clear about it. The best part of this podcast is watching you go straight off the deep end while the podcast is going on.
Oh, I'm not even started off the deep end. I'm the shallow end. Fuck you, Bomber.
All right.
Yeah.
So
fuck you, Bomber.
I think there's a reason, and I think the ATM is the reason that people really, really celebrated a One World Championship victory, even when they fought a dog in it. And there was a reason that, we made the King of Wrestling, and we really, really stacked the tournament with everybody we could put in it. And the reason was clear. There was no pointing to random luck. There was no pointing to dollars spent. There was no pointing to, hey, I just saved up my points to go all in 1 month. You either had it or you didn't have it. And honestly, especially, you know, the first couple of years of the One World Championship and the first couple of years of the King of Wrestling, there were some rounds where you only had to not have it for one post.
Oh,
to
yeah.
win the match.
I had food poisoning for round 2 of OWC number 2. Oh, yeah. It came down to one fucking post. He's right.
We're going to clip that part with Bill saying he's right, and I'm going to play it on a loop all the time.
Oh, yeah. I will say Bomber's right all day long. Fuck that. It's Bomber.
So let's talk as we wrap. So first of all, great topic. I would love to hear from other people if there are things they think killed the game, things they think we could do differently that would make the game more appealing, that would bring in some new blood. Recently, somebody said to me, Jeff, on Discord, we were having the conversation, and somebody said, I think the difference is there isn't an attention span out there that wants to do role playing and like wrestling at the same time. They want to play video games. And my argument is more like my background for a lifetime in businesses starts with sales. And so I think in the sales mentality, I'm not looking for everybody. You find me 1,000 people who like wrestling, and I'll find 100 people in that 1,000 or 50 people in that 1,000 who also like writing. Like our job is to give exposure so that we can find the 1 in 10, the 1 in 20 who fit what we do. We don't have to find everybody. If we got 3 new players a month, we'd be a different game in 6 months.
New player a month.
Yeah. Look how excited people get when people make their return and come back, right? Tim makes a great point, guys. Leadership burnout is a challenge. We ask a lot of the people who lead the game, and one of the reasons they step away, and I can't speak for the Wrassle side of things in the EC, but I can't speak for Tim or myself or even Storm. People, we make judge matches all the time. Like, we need more matches that don't have to be judged. We need more matches where people just say, we'll decide between the two of us how this match is going to end. We need to find another way to wrap, not pay-per-views, not the big culmination match. We'll be judges for that. But when you're asking us to read 50 posts every 4 days and judge it, like, people would go bang.
Can I be a dick?
When aren't you?
That's true. All right. Here's the thing. This is where the sim comes in. No longer can you buy wins. This is where the sim comes in. This is where the whole improbable storyline comes in, because the coin toss ended up the wrong way. This is where a random sim comes in. I mean, honestly, the Slam died because the company folded, but Wrassle died because they were reliant upon stats and longevity. Now, honestly, we have so few people. The sim is actually critical to continuing storylines because it's unreasonable. It's improbable. It's a storyline.
Right. I think also, you know, if we were all more comfortable with the random outcomes, maybe outside of the pay-per-views, but the week-to-week random outcomes, it gets away from something you talked about, Chris, which is this idea that I've got to get my character over at all costs. You know, we should really be thinking about, like, it could go either way every week, and I've got to figure out how to sell wherever it goes, because win or lose, the back and forth, or even the landslide lose, just sets you up for a better moment at the pay-per-view, right?
It helps the story. It helps the story.
Right.
Whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's the story that's important. Like when I first started speaking to Tim about me and Dawson, we were like, my first proposal was, I don't think our father's going to show up to the match because he hasn't turned up. So how about you don't book Maverick, and Maverick comes out and challenges me when we find out our father's no-shows, and I'll lose the match because it'll help the story. Like, we'll write the match, but the ending will be I lose. And more people like need to do that, and the sim will help that, because then it decides for them this person's going to win this match. Like it.
Yeah.
Before I go on, can we just confirm that Bill is definitely toasted, right?
Also,
Oh, I'm half a bottle in.
so
other.
So we agree. We know you've gone.
I started.
Yeah, it was full when he started. Also, I want you all to know this. You can see a little bit of a hue on Bill, but that last speech you gave, Chris and I saw him earlier with full-on Oompa Loompa coloring.
Oh,
and that speech would have been way better if he was full.
I can't sing like that. I can't.
Bill
Beautiful.
Bill will be playing as an Oompa Loompa for the rest of the month. We've decided.
Bullshit. I'm playing a chick.
But that's worse. You should play an Oompa Loompa. They're the same thing.
Reza's better than an Oompa Loompa.
Okay.
You made Jake Price run for the hills. I stole Jake Price's place in the talent or the program.
So I love that. There was such great feedback. I saw a couple of things that I want to comment on. So one, my good friend and kayfabe cousin, Royal Ryan Scott jumped in to say same thing that Chris was saying, which is there was just too much attachment to my character can't possibly lose, because the story is that my character is great. I think we have to let go of the idea that that's the character we want to sell. And if you've got to lose, like, be creative. If you want to be the guy who never loses, play the weak heel, right? Lose because you cheated, lose because you got counted out, lose because you walked away from the match. Like, find another way to do it.
Because you assaulted the ref and didn't get away with it.
I don't know if everybody caught it. We only got 2 Stan Daniel posts. The first Stan Daniel post was to tie it into like why we had financial problems in FedEx. Nobody picked up on it, so Stan killed it immediately and pulled himself out of the Enacto chair. And his next post was he came in to sign his contract, and his only demand was that his contract stipulate he'd lose every match. That's because Stan Daniels is the best writer, period. And he knows that he can get over without ever getting the 3 count.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson we can all take and walk away with. I think the other thing that I saw was Weedy commented and said, hey, writers get burnout as well. And so this thing where every match is decided by role play kills writer momentum as well, which I think is a really valid point. I don't want to have to write a King of Wrestling match.
God, I love Weedy.
Card. So I think all of that is great points, and we're not doing cards yet, and we're just having fun. But I think as we build to that, I think all of these are things we can think about to keep the energy in the players, to keep the commit. Hey, we'll book it, but don't leave it on us. If you want a match or you're working an angle, tell us, like, hey, just quick, if you're going to put a card together, make sure you put Dawson and I on a team, or let's do this, or let me, like, if you leave it to them, you really are saying to them, hey, do your job and read every single post that's going on every day. And that's part of their burnout. Don't do that to them. And also tell them, hey, we've got a super basic coin flip sim. Can we just use that for the results? We'll wrestle, we'll wrap it up when we're ready to wrap it. The match might be 4 posts. And we're done. And that would be fine. It's not the pay-per-view. So
I hate the fact that I have been anti-sim for forever, and now I realize that the sim is actually a spawn for activity.
Yeah.
You are anti-Wrassle sim. You're anti-ATM, I think. That's probably it.
You're right.
So you're also are you anti the candy cane forest, or are you for the gumdrop valley?
Whichever's higher proof. I don't give a fuck.
I can't stop, man. I can still see the magenta around the edges. I love it.
But you know what the problem is? Of all the people who can see the magenta, how many can beat me?
Everybody else on this call's got your number.
Yeah, easy.
Oh, wait. That's all 2 of you. And I'm good with that. I'm good with both of you having my number.
That's fine, because we all know that, you know, it's the story, and the story belongs to different people at different times. And I think that that's legitimately how it goes. Do I think that because I, beat Gino and the King of Wrestling, I beat him every time we have a match? Hell no, I don't think that's the case. I think because I beat
I think that's exactly the case. You beat Gino every time. End of
All
story.
right, you know what? Listen.
Hey, Gino.
Hold on. Let me rename myself.
Broski.
Let me rename myself. I'll go straight to the Alan Scott, and then I won't be able to lie, and I'll have to tell the truth. And the truth is, Grandpa couldn't beat me on his best day because he's over the hill. It's not my fault, Gramps. In your day, you were one of the best. I don't know what it was like before gasoline, but I know you were one of the best. Okay.
I know what it's like before the Board of Doom.
Let's jump to our closing topic, because I think we could have a little bit of fun with that as well. So closing topic is, hey, it's holiday season. I know we've got friends out there that are of all kinds of denominations. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all the things that are going on. Do you have holiday gifts that if you could get for either Federation X or for somebody in Federation X, what are your top 5 gifts? Chris, do you have a list ready?
No, because when you told me about this, I was just like, oh, this is so hard. Like, because
okay, do you want me to go first? Because I'll go first.
Yeah,
I don't mind going first.
Do it.
Hey, so my number one, I would get Eric Jake Price, somebody to grammar and spell check all his posts.
Fuck you! That was my gift.
He would be.
That was my gift.
We would all be in a world of trouble. His brain for the game and his brain for the story is phenomenal. And the fact that he gets grammar mistakes or spelling mistakes detracts from how well he plays. So half burn, half compliment. Merry Christmas. Number 4, I would get Federation X a full 2021 dose of Strife.
That was literally my number 1. That was literally my number 1.
Yeah, it's not my number 1.
Wait, Strife, if you're watching this, and I don't think you are, eat a bag of dicks.
Number 3, I would get all of you an opportunity to see Bill in full Oompa Loompa coloring, because I think you're missing out.
Oh, yeah,
it's so bad you weren't recording. It's so bad you weren't recording before.
Number 2, I would get everybody the opportunity to not just make fun. And I know he's not on the Facebook group, and I haven't been able to get a hold of him yet, but I would get all of you the chance to drag my Gramps into the game again and totally lay him out, because there's nothing like mocking genocide and watching his cleverness spin as he figures out how to re-engage. So I would get all of you that. I think it would be a blast. And the number 1 thing that I would get us all as Federation X, and we're working on it, is the ability to play the game with an upgraded tool set on a dedicated site. So just so you know, guys, I own FedXWrestling.com. So ultimately, I hope that we would be able to land there. And I see Gino is coming from Tim.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that's right. Well, with his walker, he'll be here in April. So
he's the Internet Explorer.
Isn't April Phibio Awareness Month? I think he's coming for the celebration of Phibio Awareness. So I would get all of us a game, and so many facets to it. I would like to have that endorphin rush of some of the tapping games. Like, could we do simming in a way that there'd be a real excitement to get on and sim matches during the day when you don't have time to post? And could we do something with posting so that would be easy to do mobile and voice to text and all these other things? And I don't know how or what it will look like, but if it was up to me, I would get all of you that. And so those are my top 5.
Well, you stole one of mine, because
you let me go first. That was a mistake.
But I'd have got Strife. I'd get Benny a PC so he can actually post. But if he's actually the Anus Sisters, then forget that, because he's already doing a great job.
I will build him a computer and send it to him.
Do that. So
no, seriously.
I'd love to get him posted.
I will build him a computer and send it to him.
All right. Hey, and if there's one thing that the history of cinema has taught us, it's that Oompa Loompas can build things. So that you could take that to the bank.
Your mother.
I'm trying my best to make you staying up late worthwhile, Chris.
Oh, he's worth it.
It was better when he was a floating head Oompa Loompa as
Oh
well.
my
That
God.
was pretty cool.
There was a moment where Max was a
Floating head.
floating head Oompa Loompa, and it was the greatest thing.
It was.
All right, what else have you got, Chris?
I'd get Jake Price a set of balls so he could actually be a real man and know how to sell a guy instead of
Oh my
just
gosh.
women.
How did I miss the opportunity to get you all a Fed that doesn't have dudes playing chicks?
Hey, fuck you.
Yeah, and that includes Amareza.
Yeah, but I catfished Omega.
Hey, by the way, if you haven't seen it on Discord, I'm largely certain that Jake Price, who was also Living Dead Girl, was the original catfisher of all eFeds.
Oh, there's no question of that. LDG was the original catfish.
Yep, 100%.
No,
there was a lineup of dudes that wanted to have fake wrestler sex and relationships with Liv. I think they were all 14. All right. You have any other ones, Chris?
One last one. I would get all the old people in Federation X euthanasia to save Maverick and Tony Robes from doing the job. You know, just make it easy. It's actually a gift for us, so we don't have to deal with them when we wipe the floor with them. We can just give them euthanasia, and then it's already done. So
I just want to throw this out. Does anybody else imagine that speech right there is going to be the next Tony Robes post as the holiday season hits? Because I could totally see it.
Tony, you got to do it.
I've been thinking of stuff, but yeah, I'm probably not going to rip that straight out.
Take the responsibility from Reza and just do it.
All right, Bill. Have you got any for us?
Honestly, I am, because your sorry ass taps me every sorry time that you bring FedEx back.
I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
I
want to see more of Tony Robes and Maverick Dawson. I want to see new characters. I want to see the whole fuck this fossil bullshit, even though I'm a fossil.
So what he's saying, folks, is there's usually more than one Oompa Loompa. He would love it if you would join him.
Your mother.
All right. Hey, this has been an absolute blast, and 314 comments. I don't know if you guys caught that going on the live stream.
Not at all. I've been on Discord waiting for a kid.
That is
called,
that is beyond amazing. I'm so excited that you guys are enjoying these enough that
Chris,
you'll sit
you're a scouser bitch. And
Can we get Kid on? Can we get Kid on at some point?
So yeah. So hey,
bitch, fuck it.
I should share this. Kid has agreed. So probably between Christmas and New Year's on the weekend, so maybe on like a Sunday or something when he is not working, he will come on, and I will probably just do it 1-to-1, and we will go the full time, just like, let's hear from the Kansas Kid, which I think will be amazing.
Yeah.
Do it. Fucking do it.
You are so wasted.
So here's, does anybody, we should start a pool. Does anybody know the kid personally? Because I have an image that's going to show up and we're all going to go, no, the actual Kansas Kid. Like, what are you? Yeah. Who are you?
I got $10 that he's 5'2" and 700 pounds.
We also get the impression from the commentary that I'm seeing in our live stream that if future announcements of heavily binging Max Entropy will lead to a lot of viewers as well. And can I get a vote? Will somebody on the live stream vote that they would like to see floating head Oompa Loompa? Because I'm sure we can get floating head Oompa Loompa on.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right.
Listen.
Okay.
This
Max.
Full when I started.
Yeah, we can tell.
Do you expect otherwise?
Not even a little bit. Max and I did not become VKC in Chicago by accident. This is expected behavior.
That one is your fault, not
100%. 100%.
For once.
Yeah, that's right. Chris, appreciate you staying up late and doing this. It's been too long since we did it. As we get farther into this, as we hit some topics where your background, especially as Titus can really pour in. We'll get you back on.
Chris, I apologize for the podcast that we're never supposed to meet the public.
Oh, you've made it public.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
We're all getting cancelled. We're all 4 of us are getting cancelled.
We tried.
So let me just say this: if this ever gets out into the public and somebody wants to cancel me, just understand, I am not callow. I am not frightened and weak-willed. I could give a shit what you think. It doesn't matter. You're down with cancel culture. In fact, I'll give you my personal phone number. Let's have a conversation. I'm going to record it because you're going to end up crying. I have no time for your crap. Nobody cares if your feelings were hurt. We're done.
Your mother.
And that's not, me being Acid Ed. That's me being Alan Scott. Let's keep it real. I speak only the truth. We just don't have time for your just because you feel something doesn't make it true.
Your mother.
Buy a box of Kleenex.
Twice.
I knew Chris would appreciate that rant because I've seen some of his stuff on cancel culture. So, hey, we Tim with the shout out that VKC smelled so bad. Fact, the worst. In fact, I'm pretty sure Gary was banned from that particular hotel as a result of our room.
VKC was quoted as the dead of moose.
It did smell like a dead moose.
Your
We're going to go before Max keeps talking because this can't go well.
You did it.
Hey, 100%, totally guilty. The VKC moment, I own most of it. Max was just along for the ride. I was carrying him then just like I'm carrying him now. Nothing changes. We will talk to all you guys soon. Have an amazing Christmas. We'll see you next podcast.